Hey. Welcome to another episode of This Shit's Hard podcast. I'm your host, Nicole Biscuiti.
And I'm Jen, aka Rumblebum. Thank you for joining us.
Welcome to the studio, Alex.
Yeah, thank you. I feel like we just hung out. I mean, in Egypt, you know.
We did.
That's because we did. In fact.
It feels so long ago, but it wasn't so long ago.
I know. It seems like forever ago, but no, it's like yeah. How are you feeling, Nicole?
Well, I was going to say the three of us had very different experiences in Egypt, because if you're listening to this or watching this, what Alex is referring to is the apparent parasite that I acquired in Egypt. 14 pounds lost later.
Oh my gosh.
Which was not.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it was not a weight loss challenge that I was on. This wasn't a goal of mine. So my only goal right now is to get back to homeostasis and put the LBs back on. I have been feeling a little bit off since then. I'm not going to lie, but but
well, at least you're not pulling over on the side of the road to throw up.
Thank you.
Yeah, I forgot that happened actually.
And you're welcome for me not throwing up on you, because I was close. I got real close.
Oh yeah, you were sitting right by. Oh yeah, you were sitting next to me. That's right. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Would have been all right.
He is literally never going to talk to me ever again if I puke all over him. Jen came out and checked on me. You had the look of concern, obviously. You know, you're a mom, so you've seen this before, but not in a grown-ass adult who was on a bus and was basically like, I'm going to need you to pull the bus over. And Muhammad, our tour guide's like, sure, yeah, we can do that in about 20 minutes. I was like, no. Right now. 20 minutes is not going to do it for me.
Right this second. Thank you.
Right this
Jen
second.
was such a great trip mom. Like, you took care of everybody.
She really did. Yeah.
I don't recall doing that.
You took care of Nicole, and then Hannah when she was sick and stuff like that. Yeah, I forgot about you take care of everybody.
Everybody. She was
taking care of I'm a 2, Alex. And
yeah, that's true.
And you're a 5. I'm standing by it.
Can we talk about what a 5 you are?
He's not a 5. He's not a 5.
He's not a 5?
I just like to say that because I feel like he really is.
I took the test when we were in Egypt. I think I was what was that? Like a 6?
6. 6. Yeah, 6. So I was like, okay, you're allowed to be a 6, but you definitely are pulling from a 5 wing because you like to research, correct?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
He loves Excel spreadsheets. He had a flight tracker app. I've never even seen that thing before. He's like, here, this is going to tell you exactly when you need to eat on the plane, when you need to nap, when you need to eat. And I'm like, who are you?
I like to be prepared.
At home. Yeah, exactly. 5s like to prepare. That's why we thought you were a 5.
Yeah, for the longest. So we are not going to talk. Well, we could probably talk a little bit about. Okay, Alex, go ahead and tell us what you do now for our listeners who don't know who you are, because we just assume that everyone knows who you are probably, but they don't. So you can go ahead and tell us what you do now, and then I can say how we know each other, and because we've known each other for a while now. I can't remember how long. A while. So yeah, go ahead.
Well, I am a nutrition coach, so I run my own business, but I've been in health and fitness since 2013. So yeah, I used to be involved with a company called Barbell Shrugged. That's how I also know Jen, because you did one of our programs, the Muscle Gain Challenge. Try to get thick, try to get thick and strong.
It worked. Look at it work.
Yeah. So, but then I left that company in 2017 and started my own nutrition coaching business, and I've been doing that ever since. And I mean, right now I also help out with Paragon Training Methods, my friend Lori, and we also just started a podcast recently, just this year, like you guys, called Live Big, Lift Big podcast. So yeah, Yeah, yeah. Everybody's
By the
came back
microphone.
full circle. Like
Yeah, full
started
circle.
my
You
health.
are very
And
well prepared with your microphone. We are here just winging it in life. You guys have like a professional, like razzle dazzle, and we're like, hey, we're Nicole and Jen. But
which,
we're keeping on.
which is also indicative of how each of us live our lives.
Yes.
Today,
totally,
because Alex
totally.
comes prepared with his ring light, the perfect natural lighting, his microphone. He's like, "Oh, I have a backup camera. Do you want that?" And we're like, "What's that? We don't know. I don't know. What is that?"
I think my friend Lori, she has trained me very well on these things, especially with like technology and social media and all that kind of stuff. Because I'm definitely, if it was me, I'd be showing up with like potato phone, like potato camera quality, like thumb photo, like no way.
We do have a
Yeah,
producer. We have a producer. So,
yeah.
but you guys, kill it on social media. Both you and LCK. I remember, she does a great job pumping out stuff. Now you do too. So yes, as Alex said, I have known him since I don't know when, because years seem like days right now currently. But yes, Barbell Shrug. When I first started to get into the CrossFit space, Barbell Shrug, you guys were big. You guys had the podcast, and then they rolled out programming, and I was like, oh, I have no idea what I'm doing. Let me sign up for this programming. And so Alex was a coach, and Kurt. So Kurt was my coach, and you basically like turned in your videos. They programmed for you. You had to turn in videos, and we would get like critiqued on the videos. And I remember they, would make fun of me when we got more comfortable. When we got more comfortable, they started making fun of me, which was fine because I can give it right back, obviously. And y'all named me Moon Boots because.
Oh yeah.
This is great. I'm so excited to hear this story.
Yeah, Moon Boots because I don't know what I'm doing and I would jump too high.
I think that was Kurt, but Kurt was usually the jokester guy. So yeah, he probably came up with your nickname.
Like in your pole position?
Yes, Moon Boots.
Yeah. She would just jump up in the air. So yeah.
Wow.
I thought that's what you're supposed to do to get a big pole.
Side note, Jen. Do you know have you kept up with Kurt? Do you know what he's doing these days?
Isn't he cheese?
He makes cheese. Yeah, he makes cheese.
Like,
he's doing really well. So yeah, shout out Kurt.
So funny. So if you followed Barbell Shrug, which I know a lot of the OGs did,
yes,
I was very sad when you guys broke up, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I think things change always. People change, and then also too, like, it's one of those things where for me, I got started there, but I learned a lot of things about health and fitness, and then just the fitness industry, and then running a business and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, as much as at the tail end, it was kind of it definitely was a not enjoyable experience at the tail end, but I definitely learned a lot. And I still talk to those guys, like, not so much Bledsoe, but for sure Doug. Me and him talk actually pretty often because we both are super into jiu-jitsu. So,
ooh, so is Doug was he out in California, on the West Coast?
Yeah, they were all out in California, and then they moved. Doug moved back to Memphis because his wife. They're from Memphis. So, and then Doug's got 3 boys, so he's locked down.
Yeah. They're big boys.
Yeah.
This jiu-jitsu thing. Sorry.
And then CTP.
CTP's in Atlanta. Yeah. CTP's in Atlanta.
He's active on social media after a very long.
Yeah, he came back. Yeah, he came back.
I saw that. You literally DM'd him. What are you doing?
Yeah. Actually, I haven't seen him in a while. Last time I saw him was at Rogue Invitational. Yeah. But that was like, But that was I haven't seen him before that for a while actually. So it was good to see him, and actually I'll head to Atlanta next month, so hopefully I can catch up with him.
Ooh, that'll be great.
Yeah.
We're gonna send him this episode and say make sure you get all caught up before your visit. That's so, yeah. So jiu-jitsu, because we went out, we had tacos in Texas and we were all talking about that.
Yeah.
Yes. And I told you that I wanted to start some form of martial art. I haven't figured out which one, but you were
Mhm.
making a very strong recommendation for jiu-jitsu. And you said
Yeah.
also that it's a great sport for women to get into. And I'd like to revisit that conversation because I still haven't made any action on it, admittedly. But I'd like to hear again, and for our audience, why you think it's great for women to enter into that sport.
Well, I mean, one of the main things I think is I think it's just really good to learn how to have some form of self-defense. So like for anybody, but for sure, women especially. I mean, yes, like men and all that stuff should not obviously, attack women and do harm to women. But like, unfortunately, we live in the real world and there's definitely a lot of dangerous, evil people. And, again, it's like you don't really know what you're going to ultimately come up against. And so, like, be prepared in some form or fashion. So, knowing some understanding of basic self defense, I think, is something that, like, not just everybody, but just especially women, I think, should really learn. And the thing I like about jujitsu is that, so, like, okay, if you get in a fight with somebody, probably most of the time you're going to end up on the ground on your back, right? And so if you know how to fight when you're on the ground, which is something that jiu-jitsu kind of teaches you how to do, you're more than likely going to be able to fend off an attacker or whatever to at least just get away, right? Like to get to a point where you can just get away and get the hell out of there. But that's really one of the main things I think is really one of the beneficial things about jiu-jitsu is that it teaches you how to fight on the back. And also too, a lot of the techniques in jiu-jitsu. So if we think about, okay, like fighting, striking somebody, size is a huge factor. I mean, it still is a factor with jiu-jitsu, but a lot of the techniques and movements that you do in jiu-jitsu to, I guess, submit somebody or to control them, you really utilize their own weight and their own momentum as against them. So, if somebody's bigger than you and they're just like putting all this pressure on you and things like that, you can actually use that against them to put yourself in a more favorable position to where you can, like, again, either get away or cause damage to them so that you can take them out of the fight.
Makes sense. And
Makes
my
sense? Yeah.
ex does jiu-jitsu, as I can't even pronounce it, but Aria, my daughter, will go by the place because he takes her there, and I think we're going to put her in, but she'll say, "There's
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu," she calls it. I don't know why, but yes, I am, now that I have a daughter, I am a huge advocate for let's get her in and let's get her fighting at a young age with self-defense because, the world isn't getting any sweeter.
No, it's not.
Nope.
But I also like to point out that I don't think gender even has anything to do with it, really. I think it's like a woman could attack a woman, a man could attack a man, a woman could attack a man. It's just, in general, I think the stronger you can put your body, really spirit, mind in a position to not only like defend, but also like always just be prepared and be kind of like on the offensive is good because and that's how we all met, really, in a way. Like, we're preparing our bodies to be, strong versions of or the best version of itself that we can be.
Yeah, I mean, you can make the same argument for like getting stronger and lifting weights, right? Like,
sure.
You're preparing your body to do something, to be able to do stuff that you need to do in a functional basis, like throughout life.
Yeah,
a lot of people always say, like, hey, like, being stronger builds a lot of confidence. Well, also being able to defend yourself or being able to fight, if you have to fight, also builds confidence.
Right.
So basically, you and I should join soon.
Yeah.
There are definitely other martial arts, I think, that are like, valuable. I mean, they all have some value to bring. Like if you're talking about like, boxing or kickboxing or taekwondo or all this kind of stuff, like they all have something to bring to the table. I think this is where like mixed martial arts is really one of the best examples of that, because people use whatever style of fighting that works. And I mean, if we think about it, if like a real fight, like that's probably what's going to happen. You're going to use some form of like striking. You're probably going to use some form of grappling. So you're probably going to use some form of like taking someone down, wrestling. So all those things, like super, if you can learn all those things, then you can handle yourself in a physical confrontation if you need to.
Yeah. I did.
I've noticed a lot of CrossFitters have actually started doing BJJ. It's like kind of like everyone.
Oh yeah, it's like the pivot.
Like a certain thing. Yes. so many CrossFitters, which is great.
Yeah, I think it mirrors a lot of what CrossFit is like, because it's high intensity. It's also very mentally challenging. Like you're having to go not just against your physical capabilities, but you're also having to go against like your mind, because you're fighting someone. Like you are literally in a simulated fight, and your mind might be telling you like, you can't do this. This is hard. Like you're getting beat up. Like you got to fight through it. Like, and that's kind of similar to with CrossFit. It's like, this workout sucks. Like I'm getting my ass kicked. Like, but I need to like push through this and go to that dark place and like find that to get to the other side, and I think that's it parallels a lot with like CrossFitters typically do. Plus, I mean, it's also just hard shit. Like, and people who I think gravitated towards CrossFit liked it because it was so fucking hard, right? Like, yeah, and now they found something that's different from CrossFit that is also equally hard as shit. So, yeah.
Well, I also noticed, since we're commenting on CrossFitters getting into other sports, at least maybe it's because I'm in Florida and I'm just, well, Jen, you're in Florida too, around so many golf courses, but like people would be leaving CrossFit and going to play golf now. And I'm just like, is this the next sport that I have to learn? Like, what's going on with that?
I would love to play golf. I would love to learn how to play golf.
I play miniature golf last night.
Everyone says it's not relaxing because golf is actually way more like mental than
I could see that.
A lot of sports.
Yeah, I could see that.
So, and especially if you're competitive.
Right.
But I'm black and Chinese, so I got the Tiger Woods gene. So
yes,
I might actually this might be my thing.
You might excel.
I was on an emotional roller coaster last night for 90 minutes playing 18 holes in miniature golf. I'll tell you that.
I'm pretty terrible at miniature golf. So yeah. I don't know my own strength. Like I literally just like whack this ball and it goes flying across the,
Eyes over. It's lost. Forget it.
But if you guys decide to try jiu-jitsu, I would definitely, I would definitely look into it, but just do your research on schools and stuff like that. Cause there's definitely different types of schools. There's schools that are more competitive based. There's schools that are more just like for, the hobbyists and stuff like that.
Like a CrossFit gym.
I think, yeah, exactly. And I think obviously for women especially, like it's a very like male dominated type sport. So like trying to find a school that has a lot of women training there, because it can be super intimidating if you're a woman to like have some dude sweating all over you and you're like rolling around on the floor.
Right now, Alex. That sounds like a great opportunity for myself.
It depends, but depends on the context. But yeah, you're gonna
basically
have some.
Ben's gonna be signed up by the end of the hour. She's gonna be like, "Yes, hi. I'd like to know what the mix is of men to women.
Yeah,
90% men. How soon can I start?"
Yeah.
Thank you.
I don't know though. Some like big 250-pound dude just like laying on top of you and sweating into your mouth. I don't know. Like that's.
Oh no. No.
Oh yeah, that happens. So you got to be comfortable with that. Like there's a lot of sweat. So.
I'll take a tour first. I'll go to all of the classes.
Take a tour. Yeah, take a tour. Try it out. Yeah.
In what class?
Talk to Juliana Jiu-Jitsu, who She models for Chesty sometimes.
That's right.
She's going pro. I don't really know how that works, but she's about to go pro, or maybe she has since the last time I talked to her. We're going to talk to her about the sweat issue because that sounds no bueno to me. Obviously, you're sweating and your body's working, so it's something you can't really escape. But the next thing we'd like to talk to you about is food.
Okay.
Nutrition.
Okay.
What do we have
to talk about that?
Why we're not talking about nutrition? No, we're trying to make Alex uncomfortable.
Oh God!
I know. I went right to his wheelhouse. Okay.
Uncomfortable conversations with Alex Maclin. It's not actually hard to make Alex uncomfortable.
It's
definitely not
the easiest thing ever. Yeah.
It's very easy, but we figured everyone know. Well, not everyone. I keep saying everyone knows. Not everyone knows, but like most people who listen, if you listen to our podcast, we know that we usually don't talk about like what the person does because most people already know what they do. When Kels comes on, we're not talking about how much weight she lifts. When Manders comes on, we're not talking about nutrition. We're talking about lesbian sex. So when Alex comes on, we are not talking about macros.
Well, that's good because I don't really want to talk about macros either. So
perfect. Yeah. So let's talk
about. I couldn't even finish my joke. Which
I'm sorry.
I was basically going to say, which is what Jen and I are asked all the time. We just need you to tell us what you eat so we know we can look a certain way. Now my joke's done. We can move on.
I'm so sorry. Now I'm going to be texting her. Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
You're fine. It's okay.
It was a good joke because I thought you were dead ass. See? And I was like, we're not talking about nutrition.
I know that's our whole thing. We're like, you can read his bio. You can read her bio. We don't care. Next.
Next, let's talk about your love life because I feel like that you are very private on your Instagram. Which is your prerogative, but I am very sure that people ask you, do you have a girlfriend? Or they assume you're single, or they assume you're gay, or they assume.
Look at his face. This is great. Waiting for that.
I mean, of course.
I mean, no, it's a fair assumption. It's a fair assumption. Yes,
people will and can assume whatever they.
Absolutely.
Because you don't put all your shit out there like some people. Not all of it, 95%, but not all of it. Yeah. So how do you decide how private, is this from the get-go you've been private on Instagram of I really just want to be about business. I don't really want to share my private life, my love life, my political views. That's a big one, political views, especially for Instagram creators. What is your thought process on that?
I mean, I think I would say that that's a good question. Let me think about this before I answer this question. Cause I have thoughts. I guess I'm not really one to want to put my whole life out there. I like things to have for myself, that are mine. Right. So, if I'm in a relationship with somebody, that's mine. And I don't really want to put it out there because for one reason is because I think that opens the door to get comments or opinions from people. And I just don't care to hear anybody's opinions about my personal life. And I think that I see a lot of people do that. And they put their personal lives out there and they talk about stuff that's going on in their lives. But then they get upset when somebody comments about something, right? Yes, or passes their judgment or opinion on it. But I'm I get it. It's your page, but you now made it public. And I don't know. I just grew up in a, my parents, my mom, my grandparents taught me hey, what personal life is your personal life, you don't need to share what's going on in your personal life with everybody. And I just think that social media people almost seem to get rewarded for that. And I get it because it can make people seem like very relatable. But there's pros and cons to it, right? Like, you know, you can get people to relate to you, but then also I think a lot of people, they have trouble with when people change. And
change their mind.
well, just like, or yeah, or just like, just people's lives change, or people's opinions change, or people's lifestyles change, or whatever. And then, you know, you have that, you've had this, like, I don't know, follower base, fan base that, oh, I followed her when she was all about this, and now she wants to be about this, and I can't stand it, or whatever. And it's like, and then they are very vocal. Sometimes these people are very vocal about it. And then, you know, that person who they're being very vocal about too, it's like, they get upset because that, you know, these people are making these comments. And I'm like, well, you also invited them to make these comments by sharing a lot about your own personal life and personal struggles.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it's tough because, like, some things, you know, I'll share, yeah, they are personal. Like, sometimes I'll share like my political beliefs, my personal beliefs. You know, sometimes I'll share things about what's going on in my life, like, you know, maybe health wise or stuff like that. But there are some things I'm just like, I'm not going to share that. I want to keep it to myself, and then that's it. You know?
I like that. I do like that. I like that advice.
Yeah.
That I probably won't take. But
I mean, basically my thing is like, if you care about what somebody, if you don't want somebody to like comment on it or have an opinion, or you like, I don't really care what somebody else thinks about this, or I want to invite them to make a comment, don't share it.
Yeah. That is true. And I agree with that. Like, with people when they post things, and then it's like, I have seen this personally with close friends who are creators who do share everything, and then they go into a complete emotional, mental breakdown because they get so many hate comments. And I'm like,
Yeah,
I've thought that too. Okay, but you can't sit at your computer all day and defend yourself either. Like, that's not.
Well, that's not living your life. Literally wasting your life on people who effectively are faceless because they wouldn't say that to your face if they were standing in front of you. It's just a computer. And Alex, I think that you and Jen are like the polar opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of sharing, and which is fine. It's great. And I'm probably somewhere in between you two.
Yeah.
And the reason is because I kind of teeter back and forth. Having a brand, obviously, it's important. Social media is important. I think that I probably wouldn't have social media personally if I didn't also need to know what's going on or for the brand. And that's a lot of people I've spoken to recently. And I think both your decision to not share as well as Jen's decision to share takes balls, because either way, people either want more or less of you.
And then they make assumptions. If you don't share, they just put their assumption on you of like, well, he's not sharing this, so he must think this.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, they make up their mind for you.
Yeah. I mean, you could see that with like, any kind of like, anytime there's something that goes on in the world, like if you don't make a post about it, it's like, yo, I just was like not on my phone that day. like I didn't mean to not say something about it. But, you know, and I get, you know, people are like, well, you need to like use your platform and stuff like that. But it's also, man, it's also a choice, man. Like, we don't, I don't know. I have mixed feelings about like being forced to say stuff.
Yeah.
Like, because I think, again, it becomes very performative, right? Like, you just saying stuff because you feel like you have to say something. Whereas like, if you really truly want to say something, and if something is like really truly, you know, important to me and like bothering me, or rather like I feel very strongly about, I'm going to say something about it. But like, I'm not going to sit there and say something because, you know, everybody else is saying something. And, you know, it's just like, you know, the the thing of the week, right? Like I'm not gonna just do that. So
Oh, we already know that.
Yeah. I think that's wise. I think my problem at the other end of the spectrum is I get too overloaded with like information, and then like I care too much, which is like a thing, and then I get like deeply invested, and then I get like start getting like mad, and so I have to hold myself back from not like posting about like all the things going on in the world, because I would just want to be like, what are you people doing, like you know. But it's like, then I need to take a step back and be like, okay, I need to like take a step back, not, you know, be so invested where I'm like paralyzed because I am feeling bad for everything going on, and taking it on myself. And then I get distracted. So there's, I think, those two opposite ends of the spectrum too. As far as your love life goes, are you in a relationship?
Yeah.
And so how does your partner feel about you not sharing your relationship, or her?
I mean, she keeps it pretty
Private
private
too?
as well. Yeah. So I mean, like we both.
That's a big debate with couples.
Yeah.
Huge
Yeah.
debate.
It
Yeah.
really is. It's huge. It's like what, like if one person shares significantly more than the other, then the other is like, are you embarrassed about me? Why aren't
Oh
you
yeah.
sharing? Or like, are you trying to make yourself look more available? And then the other
I think
person,
that's where it becomes like, like you got to communicate that too. Like,
sure. Yeah.
with your partner, whoever you're dating, like if it really means, like, honestly, if my girlfriend right now was like, hey, I want you to post me on Instagram all the time, we'd have a conversation about this. I'm like, okay, well, what is the reason why you want that and all that kind of stuff, and like, how are you feeling? And it might just be like she may feel that way, and then I can like address those concerns or whatever. But it's like, yeah, if it's something that feels really strongly about, then okay, like we can come to some kind of compromise or whatever, agreement or whatever, figure it out, right? But like that's where the communication is. Like,
Right.
I mean, if it's bothering you, then you need to say something. But like, you can't expect anybody to read your mind about that. And then of course, like with me, again, it's just like I just keep things private. And I've told her, like, I don't post personal stuff on Instagram. I just don't. So
Yeah, and I can testify that that is true since day one, since I've known you now for years and years and years.
You
I
remain a
mean,
mystery. It's great.
yeah, I mean, if it's obviously if it's relevant or like, I mean, I do remember I posted about an ex of mine. She's an ex now, but like we were dating, and I talked about how I was going like gluten free because she had got diagnosed with celiac and stuff like that. And so I wanted to talk about that, but and so of course I can't like just think this mystery woman with like no face or whatever. Like I can't just do that. So like I have to post, but that was really the only time like I posted, because again, it's like I just keep my personal life personal. That's
Sure.
it.
That's great.
Yeah.
And that's your prerogative. Jen and I have a girlfriend whose husband, she has a child. She's pregnant with her second. Her husband is in the FBI. She doesn't post about him at all. And so to the point where another girl in our like kind of friend group literally asked her who her baby daddy was when she had her baby, because that's how little she posted about her personal life. And again, like it works for them, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Obviously, as an example, that's an extreme example, but it's great. Okay, moving on to imposter syndrome. Because Alex and I talked offline about both of us dealing with this, and I'm going to read you the dictionary definition. Okay,
Merriam-Webster.
As a matter of fact, yes.
Right, that Alex doesn't have the dictionary or in his head, because you're very smart. By the way, Alex is extremely smart.
He is, and he probably doesn't even need this, but I'm going to read it for anyone who.
I need it because I know what it is, but I also would like to hear the definition.
And also, I was talking about it earlier today, and my synopsis of it was close but not exact. So we'll go ahead and give an exact definition.
Okay.
Imposter syndrome is the persistent inability to believe that one's success is deserved or has been legitimately achieved as a result of one's efforts or skills. That is imposter syndrome. Woo! Okay.
we just
So,
we just open up a can right here.
right. And that will conclude our topics for today because we're going to ride this one out.
We're all going to go to therapy right now. Call our therapist.
Correct.
Mine's on speed dial. I don't know what y'all are talking about. I live in therapy.
Jen just rotates from one subject to the next, one therapist to the next, and then goes back to the other one. It's great.
How long have you been in therapy, Jen?
Sure. Like on and off, a good 12 years. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's good. Like I said, on and off, I go through seasons, but a good 12 years, you know, we, everyone on this podcast knows I've been through a lot of shit. So
this shit's hard.
So. And we just continue to go through shit. And so we go to therapy. So yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So imposter syndrome, Alex.
So,
well, yeah, I mean, oh, go ahead.
Well, I'll just preface this by saying, you know, we do have a question, which is like, do you suffer from this? Which we kind of know the answer is yes, because you brought it up. And then like, does it come and go? Because for me, it fluctuates. And but I also think or regard myself as relatively high on the emotional scale. And I'm very connected to my brand in a way that might be more so than other, you know, entrepreneurs. So for you, where do you find yourself on that scale? And is it something that you've always dealt with your whole career, or is it a new thing?
Yeah. Actually, I was just saying, interesting. It's interesting that you also like feel like that, because like, again, this is the funny thing about imposter syndrome is that a lot of times people who on the outside, they seem or appear like the most badass, like most confident. On the inside, they feel like, fuck, I'm like, I am not doing the shit right. Like I'm not good enough.
I'm not doing a good job, bitch.
Nope. We are not doing enough. We're not good. We're not doing a good job. Like this is all just going to fall apart one day, and this is all going to be my fault. Like that's.
Welcome to my daily hamster wheel. Thank you.
No, I mean, I think one of the things is too is like, I haven't met a single person that has been in a position of success that doesn't have some form of these feelings, right? Like I've some of the most successful people I know, like still they wake up sometimes and they have some days where just like, do I even know what the fuck I'm doing? Like, you know, maybe one day, like, how did I even get to this point? Like I keep making these mistakes and doing all these things wrong. Like, why am I still like, why is it still working? Or why am I still here doing this stuff? You know? And right. Yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, I think to answer your question, like it's definitely something that, you know, maybe I feel more often sometimes than others, but I think for the vast majority of my adult life, it has been in some form or fashion feel like this, because again, it's like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how you were raised, but I was definitely raised with a lot of expectations, right? Like expectations to be a certain way, to, you know, make certain grades, like, you know, had to be, you know, make a straight A's and things like that. And I mean, again, like, you know, my mom, like she did a really good job of raising me, and you know, she instilled a lot of values in terms that I benefit from, but also at the same time, like a lot of these things of like concepts of like perfectionism or just like things not being good enough, like that, you know, that comes about. And, you know, I have those experiences in my adult life with my career and things that, you know, I do. And what's crazy is like I'm such a logical person, like y'all know, like I'm super logical, but like the logic doesn't do anything, right? It's not a thing that actually solves the problem, because somebody can literally tell you like, dude, like I love your stuff, I love your content, I love what you do, I love what you're about, you're kicking ass, and then I can tell myself like, you're not doing shit, like you're a big ass fake, like yeah.
It's so important. That self-talk is like, you have to really pay attention to it. and be
Yeah.
conscious of that, because what you feed yourself is literally what you put out there. And that's a
Yeah.
daily fight in a person's mind, daily.
Yeah. 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 And I mean, ways that will definitely manifest for me is like, I do a lot of, I have my Instagram and I make content and stuff like that. But like, there's definitely times where I'm just like, man, like the stuff I'm making, like, is it even helping? Is it good enough? Is it whatever? And I get really into my head about it. And it can for sure hold you back. And I've been working on more recently with, going to therapy and just talking it out. But like, it's hard to change the wiring of like how you're set up to talk to yourself, or just like
Yeah.
how you think about things. It's really hard.
It is really hard. And there is a show on Netflix about changing your mind, reintroducing drugs into the picture, which can be a
Oh
whole
yeah, I
other
mean, yeah.
episode that we talk about another time. We'll have you back
Psychedelics, yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Which is why Huberman Labs just had an episode that I haven't finished, but they're talking about, why MDMA should and could potentially be legal and utilized more prevalently, in a lot of ways, to as a combative agent to depression, anxiety, and all of those things. Which, if you
Hmm.
really look at the root of imposter syndrome, it is rooted in anxiety,
Yeah.
outward anxiety about what other people think of you, as
Hmm.
well as what you think of yourself. And that's why, Jen and I really try to live, and I think you do too, Alex, very compassionately, in that you never know what other people are going through.
Yeah.
You just don't. People aren't going to put a billboard, on themselves as they walk around, and they're like, I have a parent who's dying of cancer, or, I lost a child, or whatever that is. They're not going to just like blatantly put it out there but you just never know what people are carrying around. And
Hmm.
then it's compounded with this, like, to your point, pressure, with business, or even in relationships, or especially on social media. There is pressure, and this stupid algorithms telling us your shit isn't good.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Yep.
We're not going to show it to
Yep.
anybody. We know you just 90 minutes in that Reels app trying to find the perfect song for this thing that you edit, this video you edited, this weightlifting video, in my case. We're going to show it to 3 people, and none of them are going to like it.
Yeah. Yeah. Something my therapist actually, because I talked about this exact thing, and he had mentioned that, maybe you got to ask yourself, like, well, why are you making this content? Are you making it to just put the information out there? Are you making it, to share because you like it and it's for you, or are you making it for somebody else or what somebody else thinks or whatever? Like that definitely resonates. Cause again, it's like if I'm talking about myself, like I'm making it to try to help people. Yeah, there's definitely, it feels nice to get that little dopamine, whatever hit, like when people like your shit. But it's like, but at the same time, it's like, bro, I'm making it so that I can help people. And something that I've tried to keep in mind is like, even if it helps like one person, I've done enough. Right. So even if one person sees it and they get help from it, that's enough, and I just have to keep reminding myself that, because it's definitely difficult, because you'll see, and that's the other thing about, and we go back to that talk we had earlier about sharing stuff on Instagram. It's like, I know a lot of people share stuff and that's fine or whatever, your prerogative to do that. But I mean, I know that Instagram, a lot of that shit, social media, is a fucking highlight reel, man. Like it's people only share I'm gonna say only, but most of the time people only share like the good stuff, right? They don't share the shitty parts. They don't share the bad stuff. And like, again, you get this caught in this like comparison trap. And honestly, like, I don't want to, if I'm going to share, if I were to start sharing stuff, I would share everything, right? Because I don't want people to see the good shit. I would want to see the messy shit too, right? And I'm not comfortable with sharing all that, right, with obviously total strangers. But that's the thing. It's like, that's why I don't post. That's another reason why I don't post, because I just don't, for my audience, I don't want to give them a false impression that my life is perfect or I'm perfect.
Mhm.
And I think that's something that we see too much, is that, oh, you got this perfect house, perfect relationship, perfect kids, perfect whatever. Like, that shit's not fucking real, man.
It's not
Mhm.
real.
It's not real. And then you see the blowback when the shit like happens, like where people, oh my God, like there's all this drama and shit, like when things fall apart and you're like, what happened? I thought everything, like, cause they weren't showing the shit that was actually happening.
Right. Yeah.
And this is why I do share a lot. Again, I absolutely don't share everything. But I'm very open. I think I'm open to, because I like to help women, etc. So then I do have to share the dirty parts of my story.
Mm-hmm.
But most of my followers, I think, I do get a lot of DMs, which, I'm thankful for, that they're like, we appreciate you for being like real and,
Yes.
sharing what you share, etc. So I think that's what then pushes me to keep sharing like the hard shit, to let people know that, yeah, like even on my stories, they said some days I have a lot of stories, and I was talking about this to Nicole, and I'm like, even then, like, you think you're looking into a window of somebody's like full day perhaps, and really it's tiny little seconds. And so even if you have 15 stories or 20 stories, you're getting about 3 minutes maybe of somebody's day. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, so it is a for sure highlight reel.
For sure.
And yeah, the comparison thing, and I get too annoyed. That's when I have to get off Instagram too, with influencers and mom influencers that are like, they are like in these giant houses and they're throwing these ridiculous parties for their kids, and they have their kids on Instagram all the time, then like posing and doing that shit drives me nuts, because I'm like,
Oh yeah.
your life isn't like that. Your life is not like that. And then there's other moms on there who are so stressing out about like, oh my God, like I can't do like $500 goodie bags for my kids' birthday parties and shit. So yeah, it's very, even though I think people also realize it's a highlight reel, your brain doesn't, I
Your
don't think,
brain, I feel
recognizes
like,
that.
recognizes it. Yeah. Like yeah, I mean, you could see stuff right online and you could be like, oh, like, but I think it still affects you
Yep,
subconsciously,
it does.
It does.
Yeah.
There's science that supports that argument, actually. I was speaking with Steven about why I don't watch scary movies. And the reason is because they had a whole study, and they have more than one study that talks about this, but our brains do not recognize the difference between watching horrific acts in a movie on a screen and having that act happen in real life, because our stress response is identical. So
Hmm.
we're watching something and like your CNS is affected, your heart rate increases, you might start sweating. That's because your body and being emotive, and you're actually reacting to something, thinking your body is, we're thinking it's
Right.
happening in real life. And so that's the same, you could make the same comparison to what happens in social media, which is why sometimes, I one of my girlfriends does 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, and she calls it her regular cleanse of social media. I'm kind of like, honestly, it's not a bad
It's not a bad
idea.
idea. Yeah.
I know, because for that reason, and then you have to kind of do a self audit and say, how did I feel in these 2 weeks? How did I feel in these 2 weeks? I do this thing where Jen makes fun of me. I probably have 80,000 videos on my phone, because I was taking them all in Egypt.
Yeah.
I post like, less than 1%. And the reason is because I'll post, I try really hard not to scroll. Same thing with stories. I'll go in, I'll put something on my story, I leave. And that's for me. I do that for my, stability, mental health, not comparing. And we know that comparison is the thief of joy, but we still want to do it because we're
Mm-hmm.
competitive and because we all have imposter syndrome. Thank you for coming to my talk.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I think the comparison is totally human nature, right? Like we always see somebody and like, oh,
Right.
like wonder what they got, or grass is greener, type stuff like that. But again, it's like, and it's hard because logically we know that there's differences, but you still see it and it still affects you, and yeah, I don't know.
Yep.
I don't know the solution to that is, but I don't know. What were we doing before social media though? Like,
We
like
were having
how,
in-person
Right.
conversations.
People were connected.
Right.
but
And
like,
in
did we
real
have,
life.
yeah, but did we have like this, I don't know, like what was the comparison that we were doing before we had social media? I don't even remember. I
Probably
mean,
in
you go
real
to
life.
school, be like, oh, your kids, oh, you got the
Yes.
Jordans on, like
Yes.
that type of shit.
Yes.
Yeah,
In
yeah,
real life.
yeah,
In real life. The
yeah. We
people
do it
who
in real life,
who's around
right?
you, whoever's around you, basically. Yes. A lot
Yeah.
less. I think I think uh, before social media, probably relationships lasted longer. Probably, there's not situationships, just even like relationship wise. I think, there's
Mhm.
pros and cons to everything, even with social media, which we know this, we don't know it. I just read a article about they don't know how it's going to affect the future generation yet, which is scary as fuck. Like how it's going to affect them, like socially, mentally. Kids who have grown up with social media from day one, like it's kind of scary to be honest.
Well, you can
Yeah.
already
What do you
tell.
do with Arya? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
She's 5, so she's not on social media. But she is on, like, we let her use the iPad for like games and stuff because, I mean, whether we like it or not, the bots are coming to take over the world, right? So like, what are you supposed to do before we get killed by the bots? Like in school, they are using iPads. They're not even writing anymore. They're using, like even there's no really like in the school she's going to next year for kindergarten, there's no chalkboards. It's all electronic, like yeah, like on the board. So it's like, yes, we definitely limit her time for sure. Like I'm not one of those people who's like, no TV, no, like I'm single parenting right now. I'm like, would you like the iPhone, the TV, or the iPad when mommy's working? Like, sorry, it's just what it is. But I'm hoping by the time she gets to the age where she's interested in social media, that something will have filtered out, or everything goes in cycles. So maybe it's worse. Who knows? Who knows?
There are a lot of theories actually that social media is going away and that there's like this whole
Interesting.
underground movement that's like going to be less underground soon, where people want to reconnect in person and
Yep.
are basically like, no, I'm not a social media person. I live my life in real life,
Yeah.
not on.
I do think a lot of people are actually in reality sick of social media to an extent, but it's like people like us who work in social media and that's how we get business. It's that like we don't really
Either
have
way,
now,
it's
which
exhausting. I mean, all three of us can probably agree that everything we just talked about is exhausting and it's hard.
Yeah. I don't, I mean, it's interesting, Nicole, that you say that because, I mean, I don't know if you keep up with like the new tech stuff, but I mean, whatever the Apple, what
Oh,
is that thing
thing.
called? Yeah, that thing, the
that
visor
thing.
or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that's probably going to be the next, it seems like that's where everything is going. Like, yeah, I mean, you may not be on scrolling through Instagram, but now you got
It's stuck to your
social media
face.
in your face. Like, oh, you want to meet? You're gonna go follow somebody? Go see? They could probably. I mean, who knows if the technology goes in there where it gets like so in depth. Like, if you look at like YouTube, okay, people love watching like vlogs and stuff, people's lives. But what if you were actually in their house or in their life, like following them around? I
Nope.
mean, it could be.
No.
It could get to that point. Like you
Oh,
just like literally around along for the ride, and now you're just front row center to whatever they want to show
Truman
you.
Show.
it's
We're
so
gonna be in the Truman
intrusive and
Show.
wild. Go
We're
ahead.
gonna be in the Truman Show. The AI bots are going to take over.
Mm-hmm.
It's not zombies. It's AI bots. You know what? Just kill them. That's what I say. If this is my question for people, if the AI bots come or the zombies, are you running or are you laying down and dying?
That's why I'm training jujitsu, man. I'm training jujitsu, training how to strike. I'm in Texas. I haven't taken any like gun courses yet, but we about like that. That's on the
Well, we about
list.
to.
It's on the list. We about to form the resistance against the AI bots.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody coming for me, man. We're gonna learn how to farm and hunt and all that kind of stuff. We're gonna live in the countryside. We're gonna be living off the grid. That's what we're doing.
Okay. Cowboy fit. We love it.
But I know I have a handful of friends who are starting to do that, and they have got their chickens, they've got their cows, they are starting to be off the grid. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe we used to make fun of those people.
Right?
We're gonna be knocking on their door. Well, what would you do if the AI bots or the zombies come? Are you laying down and dying, or are you fighting?
No, I'm always going to fight.
Yeah,
I'm always fighting.
I'm laying down.
You gotta go you gonna go in the garage and
Yep.
take a little nap with like turn on ignition of the car.
Here's my arm. Take a bite with the AI bots, whatever they use, their choice, lasers, whatever.
Man.
My brain, cut my brain. Just I don't want to run. Like the thought of constantly running and having to find food, and like they're probably gonna find you anyway. Like, just take me now.
I know, but like, what happens if between now and then you and I become jiu-jitsu, BJJ, I don't know what you call it, masters? What's the top level, Alex?
Like black belt?
Yeah.
Like,
What if between now and then we become black belts, we become sharpshooters? We figure out how to combat the fact they can't steal our voice. Then are you going to fight with me? Because I'm still fighting even without all that stuff.
Okay, but listen, the technology, I don't think we stand a chance with zombies, maybe AI bots.
Okay, however, last night we were actually talking about this, and yes, everyone's like, oh, AI is taking over the world. However, they challenged AI to put together, like, I guess, a sequence of photos to basically take this photo of hands and this photo of hands and make them holding hands. There were like 16 hands everywhere. Like, they couldn't figure out how to do that. They haven't figured out easy photography, like photoshopping yet. I still think we have a chance. Okay.
I don't know. I don't know. Have you fucked around yet with the what's it called?
Chat GPT.
Chat GPT. Yeah.
Have you fucked around with that?
I have. It's terrifying. It's
That's terrifying.
I was like,
I haven't messed with it, but I've seen it in action, and I mean, I think I was looking at a friend of mine. We were looking at it's like, hey, write me a nutrition plan with doing this and this and this and this, and I mean, what it spit out was legit. I mean, but here's the thing about all that stuff too is like AI. I don't know a whole lot about it. I'm not an expert on it, but there is an essence of like human interaction that you just cannot replace.
For sure.
Like, with so like at least what I do, you can give somebody a plan, but that doesn't mean they can follow through with it. So I think a lot of people are using AI to like benefit their business or like make things easier for them, but you still gotta there's still a human element that you can't replace with that. Yeah.
My other question about that though is, okay, what about like, now we're going totally off topic, but schools, like you can jump on chat, AI, and yes, I need an essay about blah, 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 blah. Like, how is this going to affect like college? How is it going to affect high school?
Also talking about that over the weekend with teachers, and evidently they have other apps that they've had to create that can scan and quickly and easily identify something that's generated by GPT chat, because or whatever it's called, because that's what everyone, I mean, if you're a student and you're like, I'm going to maximize my time, why wouldn't you do that?
I would be doing, not Alex. He's like, no, I would like to research on my own.
That is true though about me. Like I'm not one to take shortcuts. Like, I think that's always, man, when I was in college, everybody was taking like Addy to like fucking study for tests. And I was sitting here flunking and just like trying to stay up till 4 o'clock in the morning studying. And I could have
wow, you really like to do things the hard way.
I know. I just could have just taken fucking Adderall and and studied all night and been ace the test, but I didn't do it. So I don't know. I'm not really a shortcuts guy type of person.
Another reason why we care so genuinely about you and enjoy your company and your personality and who you are.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. I have wondered that myself too, like what people are going to do. But again, like maybe everything just adapts, I don't know, personally, maybe the education system needs to change.
Well, that it does.
Yeah.
Well, that it does. 100%.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother conversation, and not one to have in Florida.
Okay, so we're at the place in our recording where we've got some options for you. So,
Okay.
and Jen, should we ask him our rapid fire questions, or should we just go right to morning routine? Where do you guys feel?
Definitely do morning routine.
Okay.
People
So
are into that. People are into that.
this is
Y'all are
easy.
gonna be real bored by that because it's boring.
Great. Tell us your boring morning routine.
Boring morning routine though.
I literally will just wake up. I drink some water. Sometimes I throw some element in there. And I eat breakfast. And that's
What's your
about
breakfast?
it. Like
What's your breakfast? We do want to know that.
So y'all are gonna be like, this guy's a fucking nutritionist, but like I will preface this by saying that I teach all my clients to eat flexibly. I do not demonize any foods or say any foods are off limits unless they make you feel shitty or they, are really truly bad for you personally. So my current breakfasts are chicken sausages that I microwave because I don't want to cook. And then I have already pre-hard-boiled eggs that I bought from Costco.
Okay.
And I throw
He's
some.
not doing any cooking. Okay.
I'm not doing shit. And then some seasoning on there.
That's my
cooking. Sometimes I have a banana, and then I have usually a big ass bowl of cereal. Right now it's Lucky Charms.
Oh wow.
So
okay.
yeah.
I like breakfast. I really
know.
like breakfast.
I've been digging it, and it's like it's nostalgia.
A little salty, a little sweet.
Exactly. It brings me back to my childhood, eating cereal, Saturday morning cartoons, right? Like,
love it.
So
what about coffee? Yes, no?
I drink coffee, but I don't brew it. It's already like I do like the cold brew concentrate. I just fucking top it off with water. Like I cook now. Like don't get me wrong. Like I'll cook. Like I'll cook for Brianna and stuff like that. That's probably how I got her anyways. But I'm dead serious. With this many red flags, I mean, come on.
Come on.
The cooking takes over, like at least negates like 3 or 4 red flags. That's the thing. So
funny.
Yeah. So I'll cook for her, and I'll cook sometimes, but I don't really do a whole lot of cooking anymore. I used to love cooking, but I just can't be bothered with it anymore. Okay. I don't want to clean up. I don't want to deal with it. So got other things to do.
When I'm by myself, I don't really cook either. So I get that. And then
it's so much harder to cook for one person though.
Yeah.
And again, it's like, I also just try to make things really super easy for myself, like in terms of health and nutrition. Cause again, like it can be super hard. So why not just make it, if it's available to be made easy, like make it easy. So, I go to Costco or Trader Joe's. I figured out, I was like, I'm going to make this stuff anyways. I can either let them make it or I can make it and spend a lot more time. So I'm going to let them make it. And then I can do a lot more things that I want to do. So
that's great. And so then after your breakfast with your morning routine,
I mean, I get to work. I got calls. I usually have calls like pretty much all day. I usually I do like phone calls, email check-ins, consults, stuff like that. I mean, most of my day is interacting with clients. So, and then, at the end of the day, go to the gym and go jiu-jitsu. So yeah, I live a pretty uninteresting Monday through Friday type deal. My days are pretty much the same. So
you call it uninteresting. Some people call it consistent.
Yep.
It is very consistent. I do need consistency for sure. So
good.
Yeah,
that's because you're a 5.
Well, I consistently laugh when we try to do our mantra, and Jen's like, "No, I don't want to do it." But you are, like us, happy, healthy, wealthy, and smoke show. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Is there anything you'd like to leave us with? Maybe
tell us your Instagram and
oh yeah, my Instagram that I sometimes post to, but I should post to more often.
Right, that one.
Yeah.
Yes.
But your Instagram's a good. It's knowledge filled. It's a great Instagram.
Yeah. My Instagram is Alex Q Maclin, just my name, and then my website is alexmaclin.com. So like I said, I do nutrition coaching. So if you are interested in getting some help with your nutrition and not doing it in a way that sucks, then you can reach out to me there. But yeah, that's all I got. Oh yeah, and then the Live Big, Lift Big podcast. It's hosted with me and my friend Lori, and we do that every week. So yeah.
And that's primarily, your podcast is primarily about
just health and fitness. Mostly health and fitness topics. We definitely want to get into some more other topics like, business or just like lifestyle type stuff. We want to encompass a lot more, but for right now, we've done mostly health and fitness stuff. So not getting into stuff like what y'all are getting into. Lesbian sex.
When you're ready for the lifestyle, you can call Jen. When you're ready for the business, you can call me. We can come on together, talk about business, lifestyle. We'd ready.
Love to have you on. Y'all are on our list, so we got to figure this out. Yeah.
Move us to the top of the list, okay? Okay. Move us to the
We're
top.
ready. We stay ready.
You. Thank you so much, Alex. This has been great.
Thank you.
So happy to have you.